What's going on, guys? Welcome to the LowKick MMA UFC 253 co-main event preview show. I'm your host, Ryan Galloway, and joining me is Jordan Ellis. And Jordan, for the co-main event here, we've got Dominick Reyes taking on Jan Blachowicz. Obviously, two top rankings light heavyweights fighting for that vacant title after John Jones moved on and he's going up to heavyweight or whatever he's doing. And, you know, they really did pick the two fighters in that division who deserve to be fighting for the title at this point, in my opinion. What are your thoughts on that? Do you think these are the two right guys?
Yeah, I think it's two right guys. Obviously, Thiago Santos is coming off an injury layoff, but he's looked fantastic lately, so I'm sure he won't be too far behind these guys. But yeah, Reyes, he obviously had a really close fight with Jones, and he was unfortunate to lose. Blachowicz, he's been knocking on the door for a while now, and he's been knocking heads off as well. So, really great fight. It's a huge moment for 205, and can't wait to watch.
Absolutely. And so I'll get into the statistics here. We got Dominick Reyes, who's 12-1, only loss coming in his last fight to the former champion John Jones. So that's not a terrible loss there. Jan Blachowicz, 26-8. He's been around a long time. I'm looking at his record here, and his first MMA fight was back in 2007. So definitely a veteran of the game. Fought the best of the best in the light heavyweight division. Had mixed results, but he's found his way to a title shot in devastating fashion, knocking out Corey Anderson. And yeah, here he is. Dominick Reyes, a little bit taller. He's 6'4", while Jan is 6'2". And the reach isn't as different as I thought it would be. I thought Reyes would have quite a reach advantage, but he's actually, according to the UFC site, 1 inch less reach than Jan Blachowicz. Apparently, Blachowicz has a longer reach, so that surprises me. But yeah, both guys strikers. Can't see too much grappling in this one. In terms of the striking caliber, I think Blachowicz is probably the more technical guy out of the two of them. Reyes has crazy power, though. We've seen it. He can put people away, no worries. Blachowicz the same, but I think he's more of a kickboxing style where he's going to use technical... He's going to be more technically sound. What do you think?
I think, we're going to see a lot of this fight on the feet, and I kind of knew about Reyes having... I think I've heard a few people call him T-Rex hands and things like that, so I weren't surprised that he had the shorter reach. But I think we're going to see a lot of it on the feet. But I think Reyes is going to mix in a bit more, clinching against the cage, maybe even shooting for the takedown and just trying to do more. I do think Jan is the more technical striker. I think his route to victory is putting power on the chin of Reyes and seeing if it holds up. I think Reyes has the more routes to victory. I think he's got various ways of how he can get this fight done. So it's going to be interesting to see if Jan can impose his will, because obviously he's the older guy. In my opinion, he's got the better record. He's beat the better guys. He's been around longer. He's improving very clearly. He's proven. He lost to Jimmy Manuel originally. He got him in a rematch. So he's clearly close to the peak of his powers. I don't think he's going to get any better than this, but this is his moment. This is now or never, in my opinion, for Jan. I don't see him getting another title shot. I don't see him, making a big comeback if he gets beat badly here. I think this is now or never, whereas Reyes can probably have a few more goes. He's still very young.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, Reyes only fresh in the UFC, and he's done crazy work coming to a decision with John Jones. Actually, it was unanimous, but there was a lot of controversy around that one. As for their striking as well, I think Jan Blachowicz's keys to winning here is to let Reyes come forward and find a counter. I think that's what he's going to need to do. Reyes obviously likes to come forward and throw big shots, and we've seen he does great work of when he's the one coming backwards. Like that counter finish he had over Chris Weidman, right? He's very, very good when he's going backwards. So if Blachowicz overextends and starts pushing the action, he's going to leave himself open to get caught. I mean, look at the Thiago Santos fight. That's exactly what happened. First 2 rounds of that fight, Santos wasn't himself. He was not coming forward. There wasn't a lot of action. It wasn't the greatest fight. Then in the 3rd round, Jan took it on himself to come forward, ended up getting countered and knocked out. So I think if Jan comes forward, he puts himself in unnecessary danger, whereas he can wait for Reyes to come forward and land a counter. As for the wrestling in this one, I don't expect to see it. But if we do see it, I think Blachowicz on the ground is more than apt to deal with Reyes. He's got loads of submissions. I think he has like 5 arm bars and a bunch of other different submissions on his record. He's definitely skilled on the ground. Reyes has a few submissions, but I think in terms of grappling caliber, Blachowicz is better. And it will really depend on if either of them are injured. because I can't see anyone shooting a takedown. The only time this goes to the ground is one of them gets dropped. And then it'll really depend on who's more injured or fatigued and who can snatch a submission up there. Yeah, I really think Dominick Reyes has more power. And on the feet, if he comes forward, he can land something, but he puts himself in danger of getting countered. So this is a 50-50 fight, in my opinion. This is a hard one for me to pick. The other title fight on the card, I'm a bit more confident with my pick. But in this one, really could go either way.
Yeah, I'm feeling the same. I really do feel confident in that main event pick. This one, it is it's a weird moment for the 205 division because I feel like this belt's going to change hands. I think there's 4 or 5 guys who are quite evenly matched, and I think on any given night they could all beat each other. So this is the fight we've got now, and you play it 10 times, it might go 5-5. So I I give Reyes the edge just because I think at 30 years old, 13 fights in, it's hard to ignore his Jones fight. I thought he did really well there. And I think he's going to keep getting better. I think he's going to find a way to win. This is his time. I like the way he speaks. I like quite a lot of things coming from Reyes. So I am edging towards him just because I'm just giving him the benefit of the doubt. I'm kind of picking potential over what I know right now. I think Reyes can potentially be a brilliant, brilliant fighter. Where Jan, I know what he is. He's a great fighter, but I've seen the best of him. I feel like I've seen the best Jan Blachowicz. Have I seen the best Reyes yet? I don't think I have. So that's why I'm kind of, picking that potential, backing the younger guy, and just expecting it to come out on top in a super close fight. And it's just an exciting time for light heavyweight.
Absolutely. And one thing about Jan that I when he was going into that second Corey Anderson rematch, I had Anderson bad. Now I thought he was going to win. There was no chance that I thought Blachowicz would get the knockout there. I thought Anderson was going to drag him to the floor and just maul him like he did in the first fight. But he really impressed me with that knockout, especially how he caught him off that counter with a counter off that leg kick. So because of that, and because I've just seen improvements for him in his last few fights. Obviously, that Thiago Santos one's not a good example. But his other fights, even his Jacare fight, like boring fight. Not an interesting fight. If you haven't seen it, don't go watch it. But his ability to deal with Jacare there and not let himself get dragged to the down and not put him get dragged to the ground and not get put in danger of the submission, it really showed me he's a complete fighter, And what he did to Rockhold. Yes, Rockhold's later in his career. He's got a glass jaw or whatever you want to say, but the ability to do that to Luke Rockhold in 2 rounds is pretty impressive stuff. Given that John Jones fight was very telling for Reyes, he showed that he's a great fighter, like he's top of the division. No one's gone to have a fight like that with Jones if they're not top of the division, if they're not championship material. I mean, Thiago Santos had a similar fight, but Reyes made a much better case than Santos in that one. And that might be because Jones is getting older. It might be because these guys coming through the ranks now are bigger guys, whereas when Jones was champ, they were smaller, like physically smaller guys. But yeah, outside that one fight with OSP, was it OSP? It was Ozdemir. Outside that one fight with Volkan Ozdemir, like, he has looked perfect, hasn't he? There hasn't been a time in any of his fights that we've really seen him get smashed. I haven't seen him rocked. I've never seen him dropped. So it'll be hard for me to pick against Reyes in this one. So I think I'm going to take Reyes as well.
Yeah, it's a great fight though, and you don't want to discredit, Jan, because it is such a 50-50, and it's just you've got to make a pick, and it's just that type of thing. I am picking what I don't know because I haven't seen enough from Reyes. As I said, Blachowicz has got the better record. I've seen him knock out better guys. He did get a questionable decision over Volkan Ozdemir. I did think he lost that fight, but there's no shame in losing to Ozdemir because he's been cleaning people out as well with his power. So even to take his power for 3 rounds is quite a statement. So there's a lot to like about Reyes, but there's also a lot to like about Jan. And then after that, you've got exciting times because there's Thiago Santos, Glover Teixeira, JD Prochazka, Rakic. All these guys are very capable of beating Blachowicz and Reyes. So whoever wins this title for too long because there's a whole list of killers coming for them straight away. So it's exciting times. I can't remember the last time John Jones or DC didn't have the belt. I can't remember how many years it's been. It must have been, I don't know, almost 10. I don't know, but it's a crazy time.
Absolutely, and so we're looking forward to this fight, and that's pretty much it. We'll wrap it up here. Thanks for watching, and we'll speak to you after the fights to break down all the action.
Thanks, guys.